About 66 million years ago, an asteroid some 7 to 50 miles in diameter struck the Earth at the Yucatan Peninsula in modern-day Mexico. The upper end of that estimate is larger than most cities, and it would have struck the Earth with 1 billion times the energy of the atomic bomb landed on Hiroshima. The crater from this asteroid still exists, and it's about 93 miles in diameter and 12 miles deep. For reference, 93 miles is roughly the distance from New York City to Philadelphia. Scientists use rock strata and the absence or presence of fossils to give a rough idea of when species were alive. A relative absence of fossils suggests a mass extinction event. Around the world, a thin layer of sediment can be found in rock formations which coincides with the late Cretaceous extinction. This sediment is high in iridium, which is rare on Earth but very common in asteroids. This suggests the extinction had an extraterrestrial origin. The asteroid would have vaporized the rock in close proximity, sending a layer of fiery ash into the air. The continents were a little closer at this time, so the aerosol spread and started causing wildfires, definitely in North America and possibly throughout the world. If you think the Australian or Californian wildfires were bad, imagine this happening everywhere. The combined vaporized rock and forest fires created a massive dust cloud which blocked out sunlight, creating an impact winter. Besides the problem of mass firestorms, the vaporized rock contained sulfur, and the resulting sulfur trioxide would have fallen down as acid rain, acidifying the ocean surface, killing plankton and harming marine ecosystems. And then there were the volcanoes. The asteroid hitting the Earth would have caused massive earthquakes, which created cracks in the Earth's crust. As the Earth's crust split, pockets of pressurized molten rock from underneath erupt, creating volcanoes. As a result, the asteroid creates mass volcanic activity. There's some ambiguity here because some volcanoes, particularly the Deccan Traps, were already flooding India with lava before the asteroid hit, but either way, there are volcanoes. This puts more ash into the air, which creates a bigger dust cloud which blocks out more sunlight. Underwater volcanoes would have further acidified the ocean as well. So let's recap. It's 66 million years BC. There's no sunlight, the oceans are acid, and everything is on fire. This is not fruitful for life, and the end result is the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event. This is the 5th mass extinction in the history of life on Earth, depending on how you count. Not as bad as the 3rd, oddly enough. That was the Great Dying. And as for the 6th one being caused by humans, that's still ongoing. So who did? Well, the lack of sunlight wasn't good for plant life, so a lot of that died. Between 30 and 60% of plant species went extinct depending on where you look, and certainly plant biomass was greatly reduced. Fungi, oddly enough, did well for a while because they feed on the plant detritus. But the lack of plant life caused the extinction of large herbivores, which in turn caused the extinction of large carnivores like Karen back here. In fact, the largest carnivores to survive the impact event were the crocodiles. Crocodiles are semi-aquatic, so they were protected from the flaming ball of death, and are cold-blooded, which means they need less food. Most dinosaurs were warm-blooded. Meanwhile, in the ocean, the acid rain and lack of sunlight killed off most plankton species. Since plankton is the bottom level of the marine food chain, plankton eaters would then go extinct, and so would their predators. As a result, a lot of marine vertebrates go extinct. A lot of marine invertebrates went extinct as well, possibly due to habitat loss as a result of the ocean acidifying. The worst hit areas were shallow waters. One estimate says that 98% of colonial coral species went extinct. All in all, an estimated 3/4 of species on Earth went extinct. Survivors include the ancestors of modern birds, crocodiles, turtles, and of course mammals. Now most mammal species at the time did go extinct, but all major mammal lineages survived, likely because mammals at the time were small and most could burrow, protecting themselves from the worst of the storms. And given that the series is about human evolution, we need to talk about mammals. Mammals are defined by 3 features: body fur, or hair, the ability to produce milk to nourish their young, and our special hearing system. Mammals have 3 ear bones, which we use to sense sound waves. Compared to the reptilian single bone system, this gives us more acute hearing, and also allows us to hear sounds at higher frequencies. You might notice many mammals also have external ears, which are lacking in many non-mammal animals. The first mammal appeared 225 million years ago in the Triassic period. It was likely small and insectivore and laid eggs. So think of a rat that lays eggs. That's your ancestor. It's thought that the first mammals were nocturnal. This explains how they avoided competition with the mostly diurnal dinosaurs, but also explains several physiological features. Mammals have a stronger sense of hearing, smell, and touch, but weaker eyesight than birds and reptiles. The evolution of body fur and brown adipose tissue allowed us to stay warm and active during the night. Placental mammals also lack a DNA repair mechanism that uses visible light to repair damage from ultraviolet light, which almost all other forms of life, including plants and bacteria, have, but we don't. Mammals lost that. That's why you get skin cancer. It probably wasn't until after the impact event that mammals could finally embrace their role in the daylight, and even then, today most mammal species are still nocturnal. So the nocturnal hypothesis explains our hearing system and body fur, but what about tits? All mammals breastfeed their young, even the ones that lay eggs. This is a weird way of giving your kids nutrition. It's weird, just think about it. One theory is that milk production has ancient origins. Proto-mammal eggs could have been porous, like the eggs of amphibians and fish. While reptiles and birds evolved hard egg shells to keep them from drying out on land, proto-mammals might have developed a different strategy. They would have sat on their eggs and secreted water to keep them wet. One species of frog, the common coqui, does this today. Over time, these skin secretions could have included nutrition as well, and over more time, these skin glands evolved into specialized mammary glands. We know that many milk-related genes are older than mammals, so it seems that this nutrition secretion process was an early development. The evolution of milk meant that mothers didn't have to dump a bunch of nutrition into egg yolk, and so they became less dependent on eggs. But some egg-laying mammals have survived. These mammals are called monotremes, and they are nearly extinct except for the platypus and 4 species of echidna. In addition to laying eggs, their body temperature is not as well controlled as other mammals, and they have some genetic similarities to reptiles. This suggests that monotremes are the oldest mammal lineage. The fossil record for monotremes is very sparse, but it seems that they may have dominated Australia until the marsupials migrated there from South America via Antarctica. Not being reliant on eggs, the marsupials outcompeted them except for the ancestor of the platypus, which took to the water. During the early Jurassic period, the mammal lineage split and we got the therians, who ditched eggs entirely and instead used placentas. I just want to say, in doing research for this video, I learned way more facts about the placenta than I ever cared to know. Firstly, placental mammals are not the only mammals with a placenta. Marsupials have them too, albeit a short-lived one. Mammals are not even the only animal with a placenta. Placentas have evolved independently in some species of fish, stingrays, ground sharks, and some lizards like the mabuya. The ground shark is probably of the most interest because some species lay eggs right away, some species hold the eggs for a time before laying them, and other species give live birth. The latter group keeps the egg inside the uterus, and the yolk sac grows a connection with the uterine wall, creating what's sometimes referred to as a yolk sac placenta. This is likely how the placenta evolved in mammals. All marsupials, except for bandicoots, have a yolk sac placenta, and even some placental mammals have one as well. This placenta is considered more primitive. Placentas are tricky to evolve, because the fetus has to be protected from the mother's immune system. For marsupials, the solution is to give birth really early. Then the fetus climbs to a specialized pouch that the mother has and begins feeding off the mother's teats. Did you know that marsupials have 3 vaginas? Now you do. I'm going to stop here because this is a lot of information, and I want to split the placenta facts over multiple videos. Don't get hit by an asteroid anytime soon, okay?